Find your path with the knowledge of others and become an illuminator for those who struggle. Guide their way just by being true and being in alignment, because it comes naturally to you. On self-discovery wisdom, we share to find inspiration with lessons for millions. We hope you listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome back to another edition of An Author's Kiss right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Today, I have 6 wonderful authors here sharing how they contributed and what they contributed in the book From Burnout to Burning Bright. Each one of them is contributed a chapter on what that burnout means to them. I'm going to introduce you to who they are in a moment, but let's just find out what they're going to be talking about. There comes a moment when holding it all together simply stops working, when exhaustion, fear, heartbreak collide, and you wonder if there's anything left of you at all. From Burnout to Burning Bright is a tender companion for all those standing in that fire. R. Scott Holmes and 24 deeply intuitive, heart-centered experts share their raw stories of collapse and renewal and life-giving tools that they found on their way back. You'll discover practices of calm, overwhelmed, reclaiming your energy, meeting yourself with compassion instead of criticism. You'll find sentences that you'll want to underline. Tape in your mirror, breathe into the hardest days. And if you've ever felt yourself wonder if healing is still possible for you, this book offers a steady, heartfelt yes, and walks beside you as you move forward from burnout to burning bright. So today we have 6 of those authors sharing that perspective of burnout and contributing chapter and what it means to thrive again as a whole person. Just a little shout out to Scott Holmes and Sara Jane. I was in a book with them very, very, very recently called I'm Not Selfish, I'm Just Not Easily Manipulated, and it's the softcover has just come out. So I was delighted to be in that book with them. And of course, they interviewed me on my contributing chapter there. So it's always about the spider's web and having things keep going out, right, and sharing each other's possibilities. So I'm going to go around and introduce you to everybody right now. They're just going to tell you a wee bit about themselves. And we're going to start with Scott. Welcome, Scott.
Welcome, Sara. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. This came about last August as an idea. Burnout has been such an important part of what the world is going through right now, and I thought it best to bring a lot of my friends together to be able to talk about it because they are impressive. They have lived through it, come out the other side, are high vibrational, intuitive, heartfelt, heart-centered people. And it just is absolutely amazing to be able to work with all of these people. And it really is a movement. You know, people have talked about it constantly, and the people that have reviewed it and looked at it and read it, they all come away with something. And
that's the point, isn't it?
That is the point.
Dr. Ruchi Mishra Sharma, have I said you right, my dear? If not, please do correct me.
That's all right. You can just stick to Dr. Ruchi. That's simpler.
Okay, thank you. So welcome. So tell us a wee bit about yourself, hon.
Of course. So I was born and brought up in India. I'm based in Eastbourne, UK, which is a beautiful, cozy town in UK. I loved contributing to this beautiful book because I have been through burnout. My life was falling apart 5 years back. I was like, I had no clue. Who am I? What am I doing? My fulfillment bucket was empty. I'll just keep going, doing, nothing filling up my not enoughness bucket. So my chapter and my contribution is all about finding your way back to yourself and understanding what does a successful and meaningful life means for you, not your partner, not your parent, not the society, for you. And it was an absolute pleasure working with all these wonderful humans here. And thank you for getting me into it, Scott. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Collaboration is always the way to go. Is it Sinja? I'm not even going to try and pronounce your surname, my dear, please.
Sinja, yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. This is really great. I'm moved to talk about why or like kind of how this unfolded, this journey, because I actually thought, oh yeah, I do have something to share. I'm from Germany. I went to India 10 years ago and I found a living master, and he and the whole wisdom inspired me totally to actually change my whole life and pretty much start living in India.
Mm-hmm.
And I got so much out of it, like this whole journey of this discovering yourself in meditation. And I wanted to share that, but actually writing it brought me to a whole nother part, which is actually sharing all of what's going on and has been going on inside. Whereas from outside, it can seem like, oh, it's just meditation and just positivity and feeling good and focusing on the good, but actually also bringing in the other part, which is I have a mind and I have a very critical mind, and just to share that and also make it more normal in sharing it and connecting with people now through this sharing, where they've been coming and saying, this is, you don't really talk about this stuff, but I have it. And so many people that I also wouldn't have expected them to feel so much, insecurity also sometimes, have been sharing it. And that's such a bonding experience. And I'm just very much in awe of like all the things that are coming from this sharing and from this book. So
Wonderful.
thank you, Scott.
Cora, is it Pepitas? Pettipas?
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Sarah. I appreciate it. So I'm Dr. Cora Pettipas. I've been in wealth my whole career, so I have a passion for building wealth and financial planning with clients. I started off with clients, now I build systems in international companies. So very excited to be here. I'm not a healer. However, I'm very passionate about burnout because it's a $1 trillion problem around the world. Like it's 51 billion in cost effects, and people's number one stressor that they attribute to burnout is money. So I think money does have an important part. So I feel like I'm a little bit more niche than the rest of these wonderful, amazing people, but I think money is also an important component of burnout.
And when money makes the world go round.
It does. It does.
Yeah, it's a necessity. It's not an evil. It's what we do with it to help things grow, right? It is energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome here. Sarah Jane, lovely to see you again. We have done a lot of back and forth podcasts, etc. So welcome, my love.
Oh, hi, Sara. It's lovely to see you. And thank you, Scott, for bringing this book together. Scott approached me and it was just like, I don't know, I've got anything to contribute. Because for me, it was 3 different aspects, and I wouldn't necessarily call them any of them burnout per se, but it sort of boiled down to sort of coming so close to a nervous breakdown. And then and then there was a gap between all of them. And then it was very much a matter of, okay, fine. I slipped into such a deep depression one weekend, and that the word suicide hit my head, and it was just like, okay, and I wasn't going there. And I was very lucky. I pulled myself out, and then I probably had ME, although sort of the doctors didn't diagnose it as that. Sort of but my mother had it. And when you get up out of bed and that is all you can manage, the exhaustion, that feeling of if I don't sit down, I'm going to fall down. So it's not necessarily a burnout per se, but as your body saying, stop.
Yeah.
And it stopped me for 2 months, and it took me 2 months to get back to work full time. So there are so many different aspects. And when the memories of these cropped up, it was just like, okay.
May not call it burnout, but it's the same experience. Yeah.
But it's got so many different names,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it felt important to me to add the different names so that people weren't just thinking it was all about one thing. And thus the title of the chapter is Tears Flowing, the Dam Bursting, because that was how it all started.
Yeah, we never know which way that cosmic 2x4 is coming and what it reveals, but it is, a flattening, which is a burnout as well. So, Alessio, Rizzo, welcome. So, tell us all about you.
Oh, thank you, Sara. Thank you for having me. So, I am Italian, but I live in London, and I'm a psychotherapist and a healer. I'm embracing this other aspect of my practice. Thank you, Scott, for the thumbs up. He's been pivotal to this change in identity, really. I'm a psychotherapist. I practice internal family systems therapy, and I was actually digging into your website, Sarah Troy. You talk about liberation, and my chapter was all about inner liberation, really. I really embraced this opportunity. Cora actually was the link between Scott and I, so thank you, Cora, for doing that. And it was a journey to write the chapter. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to write about. And I landed on a very beautiful title, which is Discrimination Burnout. I, I live a life embracing my identities, which might not be that obvious, but I identify as queer and neurodivergent. So, dyslexia, ADHD, you'll see me move a lot here and there. And really writing this chapter allowed me to reflect and realize how much certain hidden shades of discrimination and exclusion had really hit me hard. And like Sarah Jane, I wouldn't have called it burnout until I actually sat down to write about it and realized, oh wow, this is it, and people need to know about it. So here I am talking about discrimination burnout and finding ways for inner liberation and for setting boundaries to avoid the anger from become poison, but actually being a way of liberation and balance.
It's all about that liberation, isn't it? And whatever we call it, burnout, cosmic 2x4, shattering, flattening, it is all about that brings us to a stop. And it makes us recalibrate and makes us relook at our life. And very often, it is from the ashes that we rise, right? But that is where the self-discovery is. We discover things about ourselves in that healing. As you were saying, Sinja, that it's not surface. The more that you're willing to go in and unravel, you realize it's ancestral, it's past life. It's all the conditioning of the life that you've led now. And so much of this, either burnout or slap in the face or whatever else we want to call it, is coming from not being allowed to be our true selves and not really knowing who our true selves are. And so I think kind of the underlying of your title there is about, liberation, liberating ourselves to owning, honoring, and allowing ourselves to be the beautiful essence that we really are. So, Scott, why did you want to put this book together?
Because I saw so much of it in my own family, and I wasn't sure how to bring it out in people to be able to talk about it. Because when you're in burnout, as we've all had those episodes where it's very, very self-limiting. You're almost like you're in a silo and you don't know how to ask for help. And you feel like you should, if you work harder, if you sleep a little less, if you just, just go right through. I can live on 4 hours sleep a night. We all get there. In my own case, going through the loss of my daughter, going through my wife's illness, and then eventually losing her. And that being a caregiver for all of my adult life, it really, when my wife was gone, I had no clue who I was. There was no identity there. I'd been a dad. I had been a caregiver. I had been a husband all of my adult life. I got married when I was 19. I had 3 children by the time I was 25.
Wow.
And, you know, I loved that life. And then when all of it was gone, my daughters had lives of their own. They had kids of their own. You know, everything was there. It was me and the cat. And by the way, cats don't really like long conversations. I'm just saying. No,
Dogs do, cats
dogs
don't.
are a little better in that at that aspect in the listening. But it was that finding of myself and how I kind of dug myself out. And much like you said, Sarah Troy, they just the phoenix, the rising and you know the shedding of everything that was there before, and allowing it to happen, bringing space into it, and allowing, and all those preconceptions that I had of who I was and what I did and what was important went away. And in that I for me in telling the story, it's that I want people to understand that no matter their situation, no matter how their grief, their pain, their trauma, that it's not going to change, that everything is
Mm-hmm.
going to change, and it's not always going to look like this. And a lot of time it's that one click, that one little simple click, that little click of perception that changes how you see something just slightly, that will give you a better understanding. And that's where and I believe how most people come out of it. You know, you talk about quantum healing and everything changes in a snap. Well, Lord, that doesn't really happen. Not often anyway. But it's those very subtle changes, those daily changes, the daily practices that you do that you open up space to allow other things in. And that's why I wanted to be able to do this, because I wanted to give people hope. And I've always, in all of my work that I do with coaching and working with people, it's all about hope. Hope is a funny thing. No matter your situation, as long as you can hold on to that one thread of hope, life changes.
And then the courage to participate in the healing, because it doesn't happen unless you participate, right?
Correct.
Right. How many of you here are first-time authors or first-time anthology authors? Sinja. So, I mean, first time kind of contributing in an anthology because, or how many of you here have written your own book?
Written my own book, yeah.
Right. So when you're writing an anthology and it's just a chapter, you are condensing everything that you want to say that you probably could say in a book down into that chapter. And it's a different type of discipline, isn't it? And I think it's finding a thread that that you relate to and allowing that to be your chapter, your story. Because I think it's, you know, we could all write a book on those redirects, cosmic 2x4s, burnouts, whatever we want to call it, but narrowing it down into one chapter that capsulates, you know, kind of what it meant to you and you know, how it has illuminated your path is sometimes a lot harder than, you know, the freedom of many chapters. So, Cora, I'm going to go to you. What was that experience like about, you know, having written a book and then, you know, condensing it down into a chapter and really wanting to get what you want to say meaningful in that limitation?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. The environment we had was very conducive to creative, like it felt like the book kind of had an energy of its own and we were all kind of drawn in and Scott was an amazing leader for it. But what I wanted to talk about was the dark side. Sandra talked about this positivity thing. I wanted to talk about burnout as a shadow teacher, because when Scott brought it up to me originally, I'm like, oh yeah, burnout, that's an old friend for me, right? 25 years in finance, I know burnout.
Yep.
But I analogized it in the book to the boogeyman. because I remember like my grandmother, she's now passed, she would talk about, we grew up on the cliffs in rural Newfoundland, right? It was a very dangerous place. She would always tell me about the boogeyman and how the boogeyman was going to come and get me if I did, certain things
Yes.
that a child shouldn't do. And that's the way I feel about burnout. I really, really do. It comes from that ancient archetype, like where we're pushing too hard, or we're doing something, or we're doing all the should do's from society.
Yes.
We're just pushing ourselves. And it's funny because professional athletes, they will, they'll feel the strain in their knee, or they will have an injury. We don't really have that with our brains. We just get kind of tired, and we're like, oh, we're just tired. Let's have another cup of coffee, or like, I don't think we really respect it as a society as much as we need to in terms of self-care.
Yeah, no, we don't pay attention until it hits us. And
Yeah.
that is very much, I think, a societal expectation. Oh, just keep pushing through. Just get up and go. What do you mean you're tired? And we're not listening to our inner selves. And if we did, we wouldn't put ourselves under so much strain. We would also see clarity a lot quicker as well. Dr. Ruchi, what do you have to say to that?
Well, when you talked about condensing a book to a chapter, I mean, when the opportunity came, I was like, yes, wonderful, amazing. But yeah, that's what I was like, oh, after the book, like, where do I stop? Where do I go? So it was a learning and a revelation on its own. Um, Even compared to the book, I could dive even deeper.
Mm-hmm.
The chapter is very close to my heart because I share something that happened to me as a child. I mean, all of us go through some form of trauma. I mean, that's life. For me, it was sexual trauma as a child. I lived with it for 30 years. Now, most people will, at least that's what I told myself. Let things happen. Like, you need to deal with life. Come on, go on, keep
Yeah.
pushing. So I was a doctor with blinders on. I can't do anything. I need to succeed and just keep going, keep going, keep going. So as a new mom with postpartum depression, I'm looking at my life with maternity. Look, my day looked like 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening. I'm busy, busy, busy. No fulfillment. Like I'm losing it. And I found myself not even being able to see the light. So my chapter is all about finding my way back to myself. Before somebody told me who I should be to be
Yeah.
liked and appreciated and wanted and accepted, learning to accept myself with all my flaws and ifs and buts and doubts and weirdness, and just like, even giving myself, I mean, I have it right now in front of me. I give myself the permission to make a mistake. For me, that is the highest form of self-love. So letting go of perfection and giving myself the permission to make a mistake. And yeah, so that's why the chapter is, yes, of course, my book is very close to my heart, but I think the chapter is even closer because I have like gone a few layers deep. And one thing I would really want to say for everybody listening to it or hearing it is, if you feel like I've been through the healing journey, I've been there before, why is this thing coming back to me again? This used to irritate the life out of me. I would really want to share that, the healing is way more messy than writing a journal or just meditating your life in a, it's more than that. Because see, first you heal a layer, and then when you're ready, you will come and visit the deeper layer. And I used to feel really irritated. Why is this coming back again? I've dealt with it. I've dealt with it. But
Yes.
then, you go deeper. When you're ready, you go deeper. You go deeper. You go deeper. So hold space for yourself. Do not compare. My whole and soul learning that I would want to share for myself and everybody listening is, please do not compare your life or your journey to any other human at all, because your journey is as unique as a fingerprint.
Yes.
There cannot be a comparison. And there is only one you in this entire world, and nobody else can be better at being you than you. And
The
yeah,
revelation, right? You discovered your
yes,
revelation, but also one of my favorite words is what you talked
yeah,
about, embracing your flaws. I say be flawsome. We all
Yes,
have
I love
flaws.
that.
They're all
I love that.
idiosyncrasies. Be awesome about it. So be flawsome. So yes,
I love
absolutely.
that.
It
I
is
love
actually
that.
what builds character. It's what makes us who we are, right? We learn from those flaws
Exactly.
and become awesome because of it. So wonderful. Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you.
Sinja, let's talk about, meditation and what she was saying there. A lot of people kind of think, well, I meditate every day. So what's the problem? And it is about the reveal of what each layer of that meditation brings about, isn't it?
Yeah. And also the different way that we learn to actually be with ourselves, like Dr. Ruchi just said. You you start to not only see yourself through your mind, right? But you start to see your mind from your actual place where you stand, and you can give yourself permission to make mistakes. You can cut
Be
yourself some
awesome.
slack. Yeah, and there's suddenly so much more room for your actual authentic expression, because there's not so much shame and blame that is constantly kind of put on it.
You're right.
I mean, we can still observe it, maybe. I can still, this morning I was sitting in meditation and I was thinking about how I messed up my evening because I got sucked into social media. And I spent actually like 3 hours on my phone. And I was like, you wanted to go out into the park. And that just made me think of that, yeah, this morning it came and then I was like, I'm not going to dwell on this right now.
No.
But this is a choice that I didn't previously have, or I didn't think I had. There's just no loop, just no way out of that loop that is constantly going, unless we pause and we allow this wisdom. Like Dr. Ruchi, you just like said so many beautiful things.
Yes.
And we all feel it, right? When you say it, that's like, it is so true. And yes, there's nobody else other than me to be me in this world.
Everyone else is taken.
I try to be like somebody else? That's ridiculous.
Yes. I think that's kind of one of the harder things for people to accept is like, stop trying to compare or compete with anybody else. You are unique, and that's what you're here to be, the essence of you, right? That's what's so important. And Alessio, I think you kind of understand that even more, right? As you said, this chapter kind of became a revelation for you, a reveal for you, but it also that liberation for you to give yourself permission to be who you are.
Yes, I mean, thank you, Sara. I'm really taking in all the co-authors are saying. It's lovely to hear you and read your chapters, and this idea of uniqueness is perhaps so special. And in a way, in my chapter, I speak about uniqueness and how that sometimes backfires in a way that we don't know. So I speak about the what happens when after all the efforts you put into someone, then other people who are more normal than you, in inverted commas, they go ahead and you don't, and you go, but why? I mean, what am I supposed to do to show you that I'm good at this? And then you dig inside and you realize how much fear there is, how much fear behind the anger. So yeah, it wasn't, I mean, I don't have a book that I have already written, but writing this chapter, I feel like the book is growing from somewhere and wants to be
waiting
written.
to come out.
Yeah, and wants to be written. And it still was difficult to write the chapter because of my professional persona. And as a psychotherapist, we don't really share much about ourselves. And I had some parts of me telling me that, my story, it doesn't really have an impact. And Scott really had to insist, no, we want to see more of you. So there I have, it's all of me, and I come out with all the quirks and differences, including how I connect to high spirit dragons. I think that probably most of my friends don't know yet, until they read the chapter in the book. So I can tell who's ready and who hasn't.
Good idea.
Yes.
I have heard that so many times when somebody contributes a chapter. to a book, and suddenly, oh God, more wants to come out, and it's got to come out. So it's almost the permission. You can do a chapter, you can do a dozen more, right? So let it out, let it out. Sarah Jane, you and I have both been podcasters and coaches and counselors and everything else for a very, very long time. And we've heard many a story on that liberation and self-discovery, but we've all had our own as well, haven't we? So, as you saying that, wasn't burnout per se is the word that you cover, but it is always that pause and a recollect. If you're getting something that's knocking you down, it's just telling you to go in another direction. But we have to pause to actually understand what the direction is, don't we?
Yes.
I think it's about being open, because it was I literally sort of for this month, I write a monthly article for my website, and it was, what is holding you back? But more to the point is, who is holding you back? There's never a what, it's a who. It's that monkey mind that keeps saying that you shouldn't be doing things. And I am a great believer, I've said this for so long, we can't make a mistake. We can only act with the knowledge and the wisdom we have at the time.
Exactly.
Once we've taken the action, the step, we learn more. So why should we be berating ourselves for what we've done? Because we haven't sat on the fence. Because that's not making a decision. It's just, and then you can't complain about the outcome. We can only learn by participating in our lives.
Yes.
Yes, we've all done things and thought afterwards, yeah, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But what have we learned from it? We've grown from it. And that's the important thing. It's not about saying to yourself, silly idiot, or anything like that. Because do be careful what you're saying to yourself, because you're listening. And we harm ourselves so much more than actually anybody else's words. Because we don't have to let them harm us.
Right.
It's our choice. And so, yes, for me, it was about getting out of a relationship I shouldn't have been in. That was really the start of the journey, having had my jaw broken by a dentist and given me 6 months of pain and sleepless nights. Our sharing of our stories, I believe for all of us, is hoping that people don't have to go down the rabbit hole we went down, to the depths we went down it. But by sharing our stories and them thinking, that bit resonates and that bit resonates, and all over the place. And I've said this before, when we share our feelings about what we went through, people may not resonate with the thing that happened, but they will resonate with the feelings that we experienced.
Precisely.
And the more we share of that, and I've done this is my, well, I've got one more coming out in July that I'm a part of. So that will be my 6th book. And I know there are those who've done more than that, but I don't know that I've got a whole book, not of this type. Yes, I do have books, but they're not this type.
You're right.
And they are all up there, but it's being true to you. And I just get the sense, for me, the sharing is the channeling that I do, including the light language that nobody understands, but feels.
Yes, the soul understands it.
About the feelings. What is feeling good for you? And if it's not feeling good for you, that's your heart, that's your soul communicating to you.
Right.
And it's listening, being open to the feelings. And I think you've talked about it in the past, Scott. It's that connection between the heart and the head. And it's really about helping the head follow the heart. But with the sense, because there's good to come from the head, there's also an awful lot of not so good. So it's that connection between heart and head.
Yeah, as you as you know, because I'm always saying this, my feeling and believing is that soul wisdom is the download. God, universe, spirit, source, energy, what anybody wishes to call it. And that wisdom then resonates with the heart and truth. And it goes to the action in spirit, and it extracts from the mind what it needs to know in clarity when it needs to know it. And that's called knowingness. I know, I don't know why I know, I just know it just is. And that's that sheer alignment of everything. And you know then that what you know at that time is all you need to know, and that it is correct. Right. So I think that getting there is a journey. And, you know, you talk about, you know, burnout to burning bright. And I'm always talking about the word illuminate. And is that when we become that illumination, you know, not only do we shine bright, and it's not about bright lights and stars and neon or any of that, it is about the essence of us shining bright. We are shedding light on the darkness around us for others to see. And that, I think, is what people need to understand. I don't care what darkness you come from. We've all been there. We all know what it's like. We've all had to face it. It is how and when did we choose to come out of that darkness and participate in our own healing and our own journey of self-discovery, and not let the outside shoulds, gotters, expectations dictate to us what is important, but instead allow ourselves to reveal to ourselves who we are, what we're here for, whom we're here to serve, and how we're here to serve it. Because in each and every one of us is born a gift. We're all born with a beautiful instrument, and we can play it solo. But however, when you come and join an orchestra like you do in Anthology, right, you now become transcending because all that music is beautifully blended together. And one person will read this chapter and get something out of it. Another person will read that chapter and it's another illumination. And you don't have to read them all at once. Read, digest like a meal, a good meal. Digest it, sit on it. How does it reflect on your life? Now, you know, as you say, Cora, about, you know, I'm not into healing. Yes, you are. Money is a problem. It's a problem for so many people. And it's actually a really big problem for healers because we do not look at finances the same way. We look at the enrichment and the abundance being the heart, soul, and spirit and presence, right? So money is not something that we necessarily quite invite. It's a tool. It allows us to do what we need to do. But without money, we're in distress. So the healing of how we manage money, how we look at money, how we let money dictate our lives is extremely important. And once we understand that, we can kind of let go of a lot of other stuff and actually take that healing journey. Let go of all those dictations and societal you gotta be's and start going in and really letting the reveal out. You had your own burnout or cosmic 2x4 with the loss of your daughter and your wife, Scott. But that wasn't the end of you. It was the end of chapters in your book of life. And the rediscovery of who is Scott now. What is he here to do now? And how can you do it in sheer honesty and authenticity of who Scott is? And that requires courage and strength for us all to take those journeys. And if in any one of these chapters we can ignite someone's strength, ignite someone's courage, let them discover their own ability and be willing to explore their own possibilities, we've actually shed light on their own path for them to discover their own brightness. Anybody want to jump in there?
Yes, I want to just do a mic drop for you. You summarized beautifully how I feel about the book, but also this collection of people. And for anybody watching this, I want you to understand the value that each one of these people bring. They have unique gifts. They have unique perspectives. They are amazing in the way that they have gone to their heart and given you a piece of it.
The vulnerability.
That vulnerability. And Sarah Jane talked about feelings, right? I always think of writing as alchemy, taking lead and a piece of a pencil and a paper and creating a feeling out of it, eliciting that, to be able to bring that, to bring it. But the other thing about anthologies, and what you had said, is you may not connect with every story, but there will be a story that really
Yes.
connects. That feeling that comes out of it, there's going to be that. And I was always that kid that had to put my hand on the stove to make sure it was hot, you know. So I ended up with a lot of bandaged fingers because I was curious and I wanted to know. And I'm hoping that by hearing all these stories, that we can maybe preempt somebody from having to touch the stove, that they can hear us saying, the stove's hot, don't go near it, because this is what's going to happen. And that way that they can not have to go through the entire pain and the entire process. We all know that human nature being what it is, people have to usually get to the very bottom of the well before they realize that they need to climb out. And I just want to say that I have fallen in love with all of the people in this book. I have read their stories 2, 3, 4 times. I was able to do that, to watch how they shape their story. And what you said about a chapter being harder than a book, I think is so right. It's an art form to be able to bring
Narrow
so
it
much
down. Yes.
emphasis. It becomes almost there's a tightening of it. There's a pressure. There's that wanting to tell everything and show everything in such a concise space. And they all did it beautifully, to be able to bring that out in those aspects of themselves, to be able to be seen. And from the very first time I wrote, I was scared to death. And it wasn't that the millions of people that could possibly read the book. It was for the 20 closest people around me to be that I shared things that they probably didn't know. And that really scared me. But it also, in doing that, allowed me to be more myself each and every time I write. And I encourage everybody, if you haven't written,
Yes.
tell the story of your life. If not for yourself, for your children, for your spouse.
For
You know, there's
yourself.
so many for
For
yourself.
yourself. No, because rereading what you've allowed to download and then you read it. You know, when I read back my own book, it was like, really? You know, I wrote the damn thing, like, what? You know, it's a different reveal when you're reading it back. And there's actually there's a little practice I've done, which I really do encourage people to do. I'm 71, and somebody said, do you realize that that is 7 decades? And when you look at 7 decades, it feels more than 71. And I thought, although I've written my own book, it was, I'm going to revisit every decade on a podcast and just simply press record and see what I remember. And, you know, I did all 7 decades in a podcast, and it was more cathartic for me. Right. And I encourage everyone, whether you write something, whether you do a recording, do a video, do it for you, do it for your family to revisit later on, but mostly do it for you to revisit your journey. Very often we are in a place and we think, have I filled the bucket list? Have I achieved everything I wanted to achieve? Have I succeeded? And you start going down on yourself. When you revisit all that you've gone through, ups and downs, wackaroos, buried in the sand, growing back out again, and you realize how much you've done and who you've become because of it, that's the time to give yourself a damn good hug and say, well done, well done. But you have to revisit it. Right. So I encourage everyone to write, to do something, to revisit their decades.
I absolutely adore that, by the way. Two things. My parents, I don't have them anymore. And I heard so many stories from them when they were in their 80s that I had never heard. And I had been around with them for 60 years. And these are things I didn't know.
Right.
And I encourage that aspect of it.
Yes.
To be able to do that. The other thing is the very first chapter I wrote came out in audio. And I heard a professional reading my story, and I was moved to tears.
Yes.
And I wrote it.
Yeah, I know.
I wrote it.
It's a very different sensation,
wow,
isn't it?
It's a very different sensation.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, I guess that, because I worried that it wasn't good enough. And then it was read, and I was so surprised at how well it came across because someone else was reading it, and that and my only wish was that I hope that in writing these, that people get that from what we write.
And a lot of when you put a book out like this is, put it out, nurture it, obviously podcasts, magazines, wherever you can to promote it so it can get out there. But don't become quote, quote, invested in it. It's now taking on a life of its own. I wrote my book 2 years ago. It's out there. I've had one or two comments. And I have a call with a woman this week that read my book and said, "You've changed my life so much by what you've written. I need to talk to you." And like,
Wow.
that may only ever happen once in my life. But, the thing is, don't think I'm going to be the next J.K. Rowling or anything like that. You have shared your heart and soul and vulnerability. Those that are going to resonate with it, those that are going to absorb it, those that are going to hear what you have to say, are they going to be the ones that maybe reach out, or maybe they have to go through the experience before they reach it out, right? But it's, you have shared your vulnerability, your gift, and allow other people to absorb it the way they are. And then if and when they respond, hallelujah, right? But it's just put it out there because that's the reason you contributed in the book in the first place.
It's not just about the book, is it?
Yeah.
And it's not about the time, the day it's released. It's about once you have got it out there, this program, all the programs that I do, Scott and I do, you do, Sara, all the things that we do, especially those things that can go up in video or in book form or sort of something like that. Once they are out there, they will touch the lives they're meant to when they are meant to.
Yes.
If we don't put it out there, nobody can find it.
Nope.
It isn't there for them. And that's what I've said all the years I've done my programs. It's not about the live. It's about it being there for the person to find it when it is right for them, not when it's right for us.
No, when they're ready. I've been doing this 14 years, my own network 13 years this month. And I've done personally 3,000 shows. And I will see a show come up that I did 10, 12 years ago. And that is because somebody needed that information at their particular journey of life. This book will have a life of its own. It will be in the bookstores or be in the library. It will be on someone's coffee table. Somebody will pick it up as a secondhand book, whatever the case is. They'll read a chapter that is exactly what they're meant to read at that moment that's going to pivot their life forward. And we can't dictate which chapter, but it's just good to know that you have an impact on somebody somewhere when they're ready to receive, right? Sinja, you've been very quiet there. I mean, you talked about going to India and then living there and then absorbing all that it had to give and then bringing it back, right? Coming back into the world that you're in now had to be kind of very, very different because you almost have permission to immerse yourself into that world in India. But to bring that person who has had that experience back into the world you're in now, they're not always ready for it, right? And, ready to receive what you have to share. And I think that is one of the biggest things for healers is, you know what it takes and how their lives can be better. But it is up to people to be ready to participate. So that's where inspiration begets invitation. And by you being that bright light, that becomes the invitation, right?
Yeah, that's really nice to focus actually on the invitation rather than on the fact that I think that I know something that they can use in their life.
Right.
That's
not the dictation, right? The invitation.
Yeah. Because actually everybody is open to finding something to make them feel better here and now. And everybody actually also has access to what that could be for them. And the way that I also learned the meditation and what the teacher really encouraged was that to remember that you know what is right for you. You know, you have a wisdom inside of you that we can connect to when we close our eyes, that makes it easier to hear it. But it's always there, and we can trust it. There was one thing that he always repeated, and he said, trust your knower. Trust your knower.
Yes.
And I feel like
yes.
then you meet people really on like one level, like on this, on the same
vibration.
yeah, like you're not a teacher that has something to teach you,
Yes.
which nobody really wants to be taught. They want to be liberated, but they don't want to be told what to do, kind of.
Right.
But to just be reminded of what it is that we have there, and that the most precious thing, our aliveness, the life within us, is already there. And just because this is there, we have a basis on which we can get a dream job, a dream car, a dream whatever, do a dream vacation, because we have the life. And that's the most important thing. And if we can just spend some time and appreciate our own presence, that fills up the cup from inside so much. I don't think anything outside of us can do that in the same way. And when we realize that it's right there, then it's also not something that you need discipline for, or
right. No, you just become.
You're totally drawn to being with yourself.
And it doesn't matter where you go. You're always with you, and you're happy to be with yourself. Having that experience. Absolutely. People always out trying to outrun themselves. You go wherever you go, you may as well love who you are, where you're taking yourself. So Alessio, I mean, and sorry,
that's true wealth, right? That's true presence. I've seen so many people work so hard and give up so much of their lives to buy mansions with these beautiful views that they never spend time in.
Nope.
Right? Like, and if you see yourself as your own mansion, right? Like you're in there, you're present, you're enjoying the view of your own mansion, right?
You know, back to somebody saying about the small things in life, right? You know, you start paying attention to the small things and realize how enriching and how abundant they are. And you don't need the big, look at me, how rich and powerful I am. You don't need that, because your enrichment and your abundance goes with you and touches everything. So absolutely. Alessio, so, the discovery of self there and that liberation, I think it's all very well when we discover who we are and we finally become at one with self, but it's then that revealing yourself to other people. And it's always very scary to be that vulnerable. But I think that, the important thing is, I am who I am. I'm happy with who I am. You can take me or leave me. And that is empowerment in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. And to get there, we need to go through that journey of inner liberation, which is our fears. I think, I don't remember, I think you said it, Sara, about how we can be our own worst enemy, how we can abuse ourselves. And that's so much part of what I do in the kind of therapy I do in internal family systems. We know that this core self, this brightness is there. It's just clouded by fears, by worries, by self-criticism, and the transformation, the alchemy that happens when we liberate ourselves from that, it's just extraordinary. And then when we approach the world and we set a boundary, we can set it from a high vibration, from without fear, but from who we are. And we are all here, authors, giving the gift of our vulnerability, of who we really are. And that to me is wealth. It's like sometimes the world convinces us, and I don't want to go into Cora's realm, but sometimes
it is the wealth, yes.
Yeah, sometimes we have this illusion that we need to earn it from outside, but we have a lot inside. And when we give, like we give in this book, and we don't know what we'll do, that's our giving, that's our wealth. And now, thank you for putting the image in my mind of going to a cafe shop and seeing someone with the book and see, that's my book.
Yes,
oh my God. I'll ring you, Sara, when that happens. It happened.
A lot of people, talk about pride and ego, and for me, like the ego that needs to constantly be fed is a problem. But standing tall and taking pride in something that you've been vulnerable enough to contribute, stand tall in it, stand tall in it, right? Yeah, that's really important. Dr. Ruchi, what do you have to say?
You read my mind. Just wanted to speak. No, I mean, this whole art has been so beautiful. I would really want to give a shout out to what Cora just said about being your own mansion. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And everybody else who contributed, I think I was almost, well, getting lost. Sara mentioned about all the beautiful things. I really resonated with getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
I think we talk about this person caused this and this happened. See, whenever I talk about whatever life might have thrown your way, you would not be the person you are today if you hadn't gone through it. So
Yes.
healing is not about reliving the trauma or being a victim. It's about coming out of it and telling yourself, this cannot rule my life. I'm done with it. I'm just done with it. I am taking my power back. And I would love to share a visual, so imagine a golden statue or a diamond, like that's who we are when we come, amazing, awesome, no fear of judgment, noses running, nappies falling off. You still feel like I'm top of the world, amazing. You don't think if I fall down, if I don't get back up, somebody's going to judge me. And then what happened? Some teacher happened, sibling happened, parent happened. So it's like this diamond or this golden statue, and then there's layers and layers and layers of dust and cement. So much so that we forget it exists. I think all of us work in the domain of actually just breaking it, and then possibly in your own journey or the person across you. Oh, I feel like I was like, yeah, because so much of weight has gone off. And I don't think you give anybody their life. You just help them find it back again, which was lying right there, but they had forgotten with so many layers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I produced a book 2 years ago, Our Forgotten Children, about how the system changes. It takes the beautiful essence of who we are when we're born, all that lovely innocence, ready to discover the gift that we are, and has conformity, conformity, conformity. And there we have a society in trouble, right? And really what we're trying to do is break that mold, break that dictation, break that expectation. And, as Popeye says, I am who I am, right? And it's discovering who you are. Right? I mean, this is self-discovery wisdom. We've all got wisdom ready to download. We've all got wisdom that we've acquired from life experience, but we're always in discovery of who am I today? What am I going to do? What exploration can I have out there? And I think if we lose our wonderment and lose that willingness to discover, to be inquisitive, to be inquiring, I think that we're doing ourselves a disservice, because it doesn't matter how old we are, how far along we are in life. It's always have a sense of wonderment, because we may not be evolving at the same pace as younger people, depending what chapter you're on in your life, but there's still that, what if, I wonder, and that willingness to just discover even more about yourself. And I think that the more we're willing to do that, the more we let go of what doesn't serve us. It's like, oh God, I've been carrying that around for how long? And this was what was weighing me down, and I didn't even know it. It's coming off, mate. Right? And it's through these anthologies, it's through the podcasts, it's through the storytelling that people, oh, you're going through it too? You went through it too? What did you do? What if I apply that? My shows are about listen, learn, and apply. There is always something you listen to, a tidbit, a perspective, a point of view that if you apply can pivot your life in a different direction. We've just got to be willing to participate in our own lives. It isn't somebody else to do it for us, but there are people out there to inspire us, to guide us, to lift us up and help us in our own self-discovery. And that's what each one of you have done in contributing to these chapters in this book. So I'm going to go through every one of you now, where you can please let people know how they can reach out to you. So Scott, we'll start off with you.
Well, thank you very much. For me, it's rscottholmes.com, and that is where you can see all the books. We have a page for the book with all the authors and their contact so that you can reach them, as well as their own websites. And I invite everybody to share this book with somebody who's going through that overwhelm, who's struggling. They're going to find something, even the tiniest thing, to be able to hold on to. So maybe it does change their life.
Exactly. And of course, if you come to my site, selfdiscoverywisdom.com, and just put in Scott Holmes, you'll see the last show that he did with me. And Sarah Jane, I've had on quite a few times, and we can see all her shows and bio here, but let people know how they can reach out to you too, Han.
Well, Vocal Reiki is vocalreiki.com is my personal website. But then there's also giftofhealingtv.com, which is where all the programs that Sara's been on, that Scott's been on, sort of, and Dr. Ruchi's been on, Zinnia's been on. So sort of, and I know Cora, and sort of well, Alessio is going to be joining us anyway, and Cora will get you on as some tape as well.
Love to.
It's all about, there is so much there, just like with Sara's.
Mm-hmm.
There is so much there for people to, it's a resource of information, of support, of conversations, of meditations. So yes, either one of those, and you can connect with me through either one of those, vocalreiki.com or giftofhealingtv.com.
Wonderful. And please come back and listen to her other shows with me. Always very illuminating. And also the one about the books, because we did a show about the book as well. Selfish book. Dr. Rishi, can you please tell people how they can reach out to you?
Because I would say the best way would be the Linktree link that I've shared. So once that will be shared in the show description. So
yes, if you could
yeah.
spell that out for the people that are listening, because
okay,
yeah,
right.
because for people, get your pens ready, folks. Write this down.
Okay. So it's, sorry, I didn't expect that to happen. I would just say it's going to be in the notes, but
I
that's
can do
fine.
it for you if you wish, because I've got it in front of me.
Is it? Could you kindly do that?
Yes.
I would appreciate
so
it.
Linktree is linktr.ee dash, and then it's Dr. Rishimi, which is DRRUCHIMISHRASHAM ACHYP. So it's a long name. Just come to the site, put in the show From Burnout to Burning Bright, and everybody's link will be here. So, but if you didn't get that, folks, come back and listen to it. Cora, would you tell people how they can get hold of you?
Sure. I have a wealth system called Compass Star. So that's available on corapettipas.com. I'm just like Scott. First name, last name.com. And I'm also on LinkedIn.
I'm just going to spell your name too for people. It's Cora, C-O-R-A, and it's Pettipas.com. Sinja, can you please tell people how they can get hold of you?
The best way would be on my website. It's Amaram Cafe, AMARAMCAFE.com. And there I have a link also to my upcoming meditation course, which is 66 days of daily meditations. And there's also a link to my TEDx talk about why meditation, which is also a great way to dive in if there's interest.
Wonderful. You've got a YouTube there as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
Alessio, how people are going to get hold of you?
Yes, so the main website where people can find my IFS blog, meditations, and various offerings is therapywithalessio.com. Alessio spelled Alessio. And particularly for discrimination burnout, there is a new website I'm launching called highvibrationalboundaries.com, where people can find more material about discrimination burnout, including a voice recorded meditation coming from the chapter.
Wonderful. So it's therapy with Alessio, ALISSIO.com, and the other site. And of course, you can find the book on Amazon and other places. Burnout to Burning Bright, the ultimate guide to prevention, healing, and recovery. And I don't care who you are, where you are, what you do. It's all about embracing the journey of others before you, because when you do, it just becomes such a reveal of what's going on inside of you. Every single one of us has read something, heard something, had a conversation with someone that sparks a reveal to ourselves. Oh my God. Or I wasn't aware. And, now I know I can do something about it. And that's what awareness is the gift of, because when we're aware we care, we can do something about it, but we can't be unaware anymore. So share this book out. I always say a book is like a kiss. It's an embrace, and it keeps on giving. For someone's birthday, give the book. Unapologetically, I'm in this book. Here's this book. Read it. Happy birthday, happy Christmas, happy this or that. Books are a wonderful gift that keeps on giving. It's not only that it keeps on giving where people share the book, but it's also what they get out of the book and the conversation they have with others because of it. And again, you can read this book from beginning to end, or you can just do what I do, is like I take a book, what do I need to know today? And I open it up to someone's chapter. And that is exactly what the universe wants me to know today. And don't forget to digest it like a good meal. All right, take it in. How does it relate to you? How does it make you feel? Has it given you a better insight of someone you know that is around you? So really absorb the knowledge from it before you dive into the next chapter, because that way you really are going to devour it in the way that it's really going to leave its substance and its nectar behind with you. Thank you all for sharing here today. It's been wonderful having you here, all for being vulnerable, for sharing your chapters, whether you're a first timer or not, and the importance of what an anthology does. Yes, we can all write a book, and it's quite daunting to write a book all the way through, isn't it, Scott? But being part of an anthology is like being part of a community, a vibe tribe, where not only do we support each other, but we have created the orchestra, we have created the harmony, and you have created the transcendence that comes from it. So please go and get this book. Take your time on digesting it. Don't forget to have a conversation with other people about it. Book club, and you know that my motto, podcast club. Listen to a podcast together, everybody take notes and share those notes afterwards, and you'll just see how the different perspectives just broaden everything out, all right? So podcasts, books, whatever it is, please share what it has done for you, because that light that it's brought to you, you can now shed your light on somebody else's path somewhere else. So thank you all so much for being here today. It's been an absolute delight having you here. And until next time, absolutely wonderful. Thank you. And until next time, folks, remember, it doesn't matter if you burn out or if you have the cosmic 2x4 or the wackaroo, whatever you want to call it. All it is a redirect. It's the universe telling you need to stop, rethink, and redirect. Be willing to take that journey. Allow and surrender. You'll be amazed at what it reveals. Get this book and hear those stories, and I know it's going to be a catalyst for you. So until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you to listen to right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Come and hear the illumination that's going to shed light on your path.